Today, we're going to talk about detailing. I know some of you are thinking, hey, these are 4x4s. They're supposed to get dirty. I agree, but I also like to have a clean vehicle, especially the interior. Our guest today is a professional detailer, and he gives us some tips and some product recommendations. Are you into four-wheeling, camping, and exploring? How about off-road racing like mud bogs, short course wheel-to-wheel racing, or even desert races? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to 4x4 Canada podcast. My name is Wes, and I've been four-wheeling since I was 6 weeks old. I have over 20 years experience in 4x4 shops, many more than that in the off-road racing, and a lifetime of exploring the backcountry across Canada. Every week, we bring you a new guest where they give you their perspective on the industry. We discuss everything from four-wheeling, overlanding, every form of off-road racing across this great country, as well as we talk to Canadian manufacturers and 4x4 shops. Just a quick reminder that if you're looking for more episodes, you can find all of our episodes on 4x4canadapodcast.com or your favorite podcast sharing platform. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at 4x4canadapodcast.com. Now let's get to the show. Are you tired of your vehicle being dirty, inside and outside? You give it a wipe, 5 minutes later, it's dirty again. Or mud. There's always mud. Our guest today is going to help us out with how to keep your vehicle clean, how to detail it, and maybe even smell nice too. Josh from TOC Supplies, welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast.
Glad to be on, Wes. Glad to be onto the podcast. And hello, 4x4 Canada viewers.
So Josh, you're part of the TOC supply teams as a product specialist, and you're also a professional auto detailer and with years and years of experience. TOC Supplies is an Ontario company that sells high-quality detailing products for enthusiasts and professionals. For those who live around Vaughan area, TOC Supplies is opening a storefront in the first quarter of 2023, and you can also check them out at tocsupplies.ca. Josh, there's a little bit more to TOC than just that quick intro. What else can you tell us about TOC?
TOC is definitely doing something new when it comes to detailing supplies, because our whole entire goal is to bring in products into Canada that are hard to get. A lot of detailing enthusiasts, professionals, they're always getting products from the US. And if they are getting them from Canada, a lot of the supplies that do have them are far out west, right? So most of the detailing enthusiasts, detailing professionals here in the east side of Canada, they're having a little bit of a hard time trying to get the products that they want and the products that are really sought out after, the hot products. So,
yeah.
They'll end up having to order from the U.S. and they pay taxes, duties, all this other stuff. And if they order from the West, it's going to take forever. And it's a business for some professionals and enthusiasts. They just want their stuff right away. Our owner, the owner of TOC Supply, had this idea where he's a simple idea. He just said, you know what? Detailing enthusiast, because he's a detailing enthusiast himself, but he wants to serve the detailing enthusiasts and professionals on the East Coast. He said, we don't have a lot of it here, and it takes forever for orders to come through. Yeah, that's mainly what TOC Supplies is all about. We want to bring unique, hard to get detailing products here in Canada, in the east side at least.
Yeah, and I've noticed that everything is top quality. This is stuff that people are using in the detail shops, and that it's not just your typical Canadian Tire off the shelf stuff. Everything's for the, like you say, the enthusiasts or the professionals, but it's also packaged in a way that a regular person like myself or other detailer enthusiasts can use. It's not bulk. It's all packaged very friendly, I would say.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm going to be upfront and honest. TOC did send me some products to try at no charge, which I'll be doing an honest review on our YouTube channel. And we've also entered into a partnership with our listeners to get a 10% discount if they use the 4x4 Canada code. And again, we'll put in the show notes the website for TOC Supplies and the code, and to help our listeners out with that. Let's talk about the products that TOC did send me. The new Off Road Series from P&S, the cockpit interior detailer, the pit stop all-purpose detailer, the full send dressing, the mud blaster multi-purpose cleaner, and the wide open all-terrain wash. Now, I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys that usually grab my stuff from Canadian Tire, and I was really curious to see how this compared to what I normally use. I use the cockpit interior detailer and the full send dressing a lot, and I was pretty impressed. I'd give them a give everything a quick wipe with a detailer and follow that up with a full send dressing after that. I did notice two things though. The combination did not seem to attract the dust like the other brands do, which I thought was quite interesting, especially because we do a lot of dust out here. Yeah. But also, if I did a quick 15-minute wipe down each week, it was a lot easier. And I think that goes with anything, right? Even your kitchen, you give it a wipe down every night and it's a lot easier. But I noticed I didn't have to work as hard as when I did using other brands. What are some of your thoughts on that cockpit interior detailer and full send dressing? Is it just the higher quality?
Yeah. That's actually a really good combination right away off the bat, because the interior quick detailers basically has emulsifiers in them, and that's why it makes it easier for you to clean any light contamination on your interior. Most products will just have the clean, just to make things a little bit simpler. I'm not going to name weird chemicals or anything like that, but most interior quick detailers, they just have the cleaning side of the chemicals. Most of them don't have the emulsifiers that are going to trap and lift the dirt from the interiors much easier. So that's mainly what the interior quick detailer will do. And the quick dressing on top of that, when you lay it right on top, it actually has anti-static properties. So most dressings are just going to, they're just kind of going to add a little film to mask the discoloration of whatever the surface is. But the quick dressing is actually going to have, like I said, anti-static properties. Not only will it protect your plastic parts from UV rays or anything like that, but it will actually prevent dirt from sticking onto that, which makes it much easier for you to clean. And that's why you're having an easy time to clean with the interior quick detailer, because the dressing is actually giving you that anti-static properties, and it's allowing the emulsifiers to easily lift the dirt off the surface.
Yeah, definitely. After the first or second time, I did notice that it was a lot easier to clean. And that was one of the first things I noticed, was that the dust didn't seem to stick to the dash and everything like that. And I did this right in August when it's 30 or 35 degrees out here and everything's covered in dust. And it just didn't seem to stick as much as it did with my regular brands. I also used the Mudbuster multi-purpose cleaner a bit too. We tried it with a friend side by side, and we hit everything: seats, roll cage, dash, everything. And it seemed to work really good, but I didn't have a chance to compare it against the other brands. I think I need to try this again when I'm washing my truck at the U-Do place that I use. I'm not allowed to wash my vehicle in my driveway, just with where I live, with the rules. So I go to those you wash places, right? Where I go and I spray my truck down. So the Mudbuster multi-purpose cleaner, go down, give it a quick spray kind of idea, and then hit this in like my inner fender liners and those kinds of areas. And that's probably the best way to do that for that. What is the Mudbuster meant for? Other obviously mud, but
definitely busting mud. No, yeah, Mudbuster is mainly going to be used for almost all your exterior surfaces on your side-by-side 4x4s, even on your trucks as well, because it's mainly used as a from what I heard from you, you say you take your vehicle to the coin wash, I'm guessing?
Yeah, to like one of those ones where you wash it down yourself, you spray it down.
Yeah.
You pull into a stall and you spray it down yourself kind of idea. So
Mudbuster would be a perfect pre-treatment spray. That's what we would call it. It'd be a perfect pre-treatment spray on your exterior surfaces, plastic, paint, like that. So before I go into further details about that, I think so that your viewers get an understanding of what Mudbuster is all about, and basically all the products, is that the P&S Off Road line it's mainly designed to clean and remove organic material. So in this case, heavy, thick mud. And that's the main difference, the P&S Off Road line and other products, because other products are more designed to remove inorganic grime, road film, fallout contamination, and so on. So when using Mudbuster on the paint, it has, or on the paint or plastic trim, metal trim, whatever you have on your off-road vehicle, it will actually do a better job at penetrating mud that's been crusted and caked onto the vehicle. It'll get into the back of where the mud has hardened, and between your paint, it'll get behind there and loosen things up, whereas other products actually can't do that because they're more designed for inorganic grime. So yes, definitely spray Mudbuster onto the exterior of your off-roading vehicle. And as soon as you use that pressure washer to blast it off, not only will it help loosen the dirt and all the mud and all the gunk that's been hardened onto your vehicle, but it will actually do a little bit of cleaning. If you want, you can try it for yourself. Do a little 50-50, maybe with tape. spray one side of the mud buster, just blast that side, whichever side you choose, and you'll actually see that in combination with mud buster and the pressure coming from the hose, it does a little bit of cleaning without needing that contact wash, without having to actually hand wash the paint. So that's what's really cool about mud buster.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it something that we should use as a preventative thing? Because knowing that we're going to be going out into, I try and avoid mud. I'm not a huge mud fan. It's on the trails. We're going to hit it regardless. So is it something that we should use as a preventive to make it easier to clean when we do come back?
A little bit, yeah. It doesn't have any protection properties, and it's more of a cleaner, but it does have anti-corrosion inhibitors in that product. So if you're having a hard time getting mud off or anything that might ruin your sensitive bits that are probably prone to rust or anything like that, it actually has rust inhibitors in it. So Mudbuster has that feature. So it's mainly going to be used as just a pre-treatment, blast off the mud vehicle kind of product.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't use the wide open all-terrain wash myself. Like I say, since they frown on washing vehicles in my driveway in the certain area that I live in. But I did have some friends that tried it, and they were both really impressed with it. And they both commented that the suds seem to last a lot longer in a bucket compared to their regular Canadian Tire or Lordco brands that they do use. So the wide open all-terrain wash, what's the scoop with that?
So it's a simple pH neutral. So it's, when I say pH neutral, if you have existing protection, let's say a wax or a paint sealant on your off-roading vehicle, pH neutral basically just means it's not going to deteriorate your protection that's on your paint. And basically it's just a straightforward general soap that you can use to wash your vehicle. Now, what's special about it is the reason why it suds up and it foams up so much is because, and it lasts a little bit longer, the foams last a little bit longer, is because, again, it's the whole entire emulsifying process of things. When the all-terrain wash does get really foamy, really sudsy, and you put it on your vehicle and you're doing a contact wash, it's not gliding dirt or anything that could possibly scratch your vehicle on the surface as you're doing a contact wash. What it's actually doing is that it's lifting that dirt up and it's trapping it into solution so that you're not marring or scratching any of the surface. That's what all-terrain wash is really all about. And plus, it's very concentrated. That's why you're getting a lot of foam. It's super concentrated. Like, the dilution ratio is insane. I don't know if I should get into dilution ratios. That's a whole nother...
Yeah, no, it's something that I know one friend did die. Like, he tried it once and then he tried it again and did different dilutions because he actually read the label this time.
Oh, yeah, the labels are literally right on the back. Yeah, you're right. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, honestly, the dilution ratios are on the back. It suggests that if you're doing this sort of wash, this is your ratio and so on.
Yeah, it was right there. So, yeah, the first time he used it, it was a lot more suds than that. But the second time, it was a bit less, but he said he didn't notice any difference on the quality of the wash. So now the P&S Off Road Series stuff, like I say, it all seems good quality. And obviously the wash is a lot better than the dish soap that I used to use when I was 20.
Yeah, if your viewers are listening now, honestly, just try and avoid using Dawn or any dishwashing detergent. It's actually going to do a lot more harm than... Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I remember using it on my Mustang when I was 20 and just because it was cheap and that's all I had. But as technology and the soaps has progressed and my pocketbook has progressed, it's gotten a lot better. But yeah,
I did it too.
Yeah.
Starting off in detail, before I knew anything about detailing, I did use Dawn soap.
Yeah. Yeah. We all learn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the whole off-road series from P&S definitely seems like quality stuff. It's, I have to admit that everything I used, I was definitely impressed with. So once again, everybody use the discount of 4x4 Canada and definitely help you out with that. Now, this is not the real reason for Josh coming on today. He's here today because I suck at detailing my truck and I want to learn more. That's basically what it is, man. You work for TOC and we want to promote the TOC products. And like I say, I love the off-road series stuff from P&S, but I and my listeners definitely want to learn more about how to detail their vehicles properly. There's so many different things out there. I know there's stuff that I'm doing wrong and you can watch YouTube videos and that, but it's really nice to talk to a professional and to learn a bit more. So one of the big things that bugs the hell out of me is how do you make it easy to remove bugs?
That's nice. It bugs the hell out of you, bugs. The easiest way to basically remove bugs is to actually attend to it right away. Of course, I would use dedicated bug removers and so on, which I'll name a few products in a
Yes,
bit.
definitely. Yeah.
But the reason why you actually want to attend to it right away is because bug guts in nature are very corrosive and acidic. So if you allow buildup on the paint and you don't wash it off immediately, it'll actually start eating through your clear coat, leading to clear coat failure. And that's where you see cars that are having their paint's fading away a little bit. It's a red vehicle and you see some certain spots that are pink.
Yep.
And that's because that acidic nature of the bug guts they're eating through the clear coat and it's getting down to the paint. So basically some of the products that I use are dedicated bug removers from detailing brands such as CarPro. It's called CarPro Bug Out.
Okay.
And there's a lot of ways to pronounce this because it's a German brand that we carry as well. Some people say Kochchemi, but it's really pronounced Kochchemi. It's a German brand, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's all good.
Yeah, so CarPro Bug Out and Kochchemi GS Green Star. So basically, these are high alkaline based cleaners at the pH level of 10 and 13. So these are really intense chemical cleaners that are still safe to use. Wear some PPE gloves. So that's mainly what I use for bug removing.
Okay.
And it's very easy to use. Before you get into the wash of your vehicle, actually, when you start to wash your car, just rinse off the dirt off the paint of your vehicle. And before you get into the actual contact wash with your car soap, spray the bug remover onto the affected area where there's tons of bug guts and let
Yep.
that product dwell for 5 minutes. Of course, rule of thumb, don't do this under sunlight because when you spray a high alkaline based cleaner in direct sunlight, that's just going to etch and stain into the clear coat and you're going to have weird spray marks on your clear coat. So it's going to be obvious.
Yeah.
So do it in shade in much cooler temperatures. And that's pretty much about it. Just spray the product onto the paint, let it dwell for 5 minutes. What it's going to do is it's basically going to melt and eat away all those bug guts that are hardened onto the paint. And it'll make it easier. Now, not all of it will come off when you spray it on, because as soon as you spray the product onto the paint, you do have to do another rinse with your pressure washer or with a garden hose to get that product off. You'll notice that some bug guts have come off and are probably still sticking onto the paint, but these bug removers have loosened it up so much that when you actually get to the contact wash, to the hand wash of your vehicle, it will remove his remaining off much easier.
Gotcha. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll put those in the show notes as well too, because I think, like I say, that's one of the things that bugs me is there's so many coming back from trips sometimes and the front end of the vehicle is just covered in them.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to remove. You got to sit there and you got to try and rub them or whatever. Yeah. So if we can use like the car care bug out or something like that, where it makes life a lot easier, as well as it's probably better off than trying to sit there and scrape away at them. So we'll put those in the show notes for people.
Yeah. It prevents further damage from the paint too. There are ways to protect from bug guts. Of course, that's a whole nother topic, but they're basically paint protections from waxes to paint sealants to, you guys might have heard it before, ceramic coatings.
Yep.
Basically, these make it much easier for bug guts to stick less onto your paint. Simple as that.
So we can hop into that, like a good ceramic coating is probably better off all around for protection of the paint and that. So
100%, yeah.
Or even a good quality wax too, right?
Oh yeah, they've evolved so much to the point where wax used to just be strictly carnauba based, so very warm, very soft, but they're infusing a lot of different technologies into wax now. You're getting a lot of fluorine waxes, you're getting a lot of silica dioxide waxes. Basically, they're adding much harder protection to allow that wax to stay onto the paint much longer and allow it to protect from other things. Yeah.
And we'll get into the wax in a bit because there's a bit later on, we'll do a step-by-step of doing a good detail. So one of the other things is that we're four-wheelers. We get into mud, gets into our trucks. My carpet needs a good cleaning on some of the areas that are not protected by my floor liners. And I've bought some shampoos before, but it was, one even had a little brush and fell off at the first scrub and that. What do you recommend for cleaning carpet?
So I highly recommend it's from the same brand from the off-road that we're talking about, P&S.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend using the P&S carpet system. And yes, they have other products beside the off-road line. It is a 3-part system though. So it's a little tedious, but when you get used to it and you get down to it, it's actually very simple. So this 3-part system includes products from P&S that's called a Terminator. So it's called P&S Terminator, P&S Carpet Bomber, and P&S Finisher. So there's a step here. And by the way, these products come in RTU, ready to use.
Perfect.
At TOC Supplies, so you don't have to do any of that dilution stuff. Don't complicate things. We have it
The
ready.
the easier it is for us as a consumer to use,
Exactly.
the better.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And like I said, they come ready to use at tocsupplies.ca. But anyways,
Yep.
so the 3 product system. So you'll actually start off with Terminator. They come in a 12-ounce bottle. So Terminator, P&S Terminator will basically break down hardened stains like coffee, bodily fluids, and basically any stains that are on your carpet. You can imagine whatever stains you have.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
Terminator will basically melt that away. It'll loosen things up and it'll break it down, ready for Carpet Bomber to do the actual cleaning. So Carpet Bomber up next will be so spray Terminator on your carpet, let it dwell for 3 minutes. Actually, 3 minutes is fine, or even less. Spray Terminator onto your carpets, let it dwell. And if you want, you can rub it in with with a microfiber towel just to give it a little bit of extra oomph, I guess you can say.
Yep.
Once that's finished, step 2 is to spray Carpet Bomber onto your carpet. Now, Carpet Bomber has actual cleaning detergents and emulsifiers. Unlike most carpet cleaners, like you said, it's almost like diluted shampoo that you use on normal paint. So it's not really going to do the job, but Carpet Bomber has emulsifiers that will, again, lift up the dirt, trap it, making cleaning much easier. So that would be step 2, Carpet Bomber, spray it onto carpet. And if you have a dedicated carpet brush, or even just a microfiber towel, depending on how soiled your carpets are, spray the product according to how filthy it is. If it's really dirty, then spray as much as you can. And if it's, maybe 20 sprays if it's really dirty. And if it's not too dirty, you're looking at 10 to 15 sprays. Agitate it with a microfiber towel or with a carpet brush and dry it up again with a microfiber towel after you've agitated with a brush. So once Carpet Bomber is finished, the last step is Finisher. Finisher is peroxide based. So what it's going to do is, because the problem is when you use a chemical like Carpet Bomber, after you after you dry it down with a microfiber towel, you're not getting every chemical off the carpet. You're still going to have some suds in there. And in case your feet's wet and you start moving it around your carpet, you're going to notice it frothing up and you're going to, what the heck, why is my carpet frothing up? So that's actually leftover chemical from Carpet Bomber or from any other carpet cleaners. Finisher is going to neutralize that. Finisher is a peroxide-based chemical that's going to neutralize the foam and all the other detergents that's left behind so that you get a nice, fresh carpet.
Gotcha. Perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for. Because I know there's a few areas where my liners just don't quite cover, and especially in this weather with the snow and the grime of the roads or the mud in the summertime and the fall time and that. So that's exactly what I was looking for. So thank you.
And of course, vacuum your carpets prior to actually using it. You don't want to be rubbing in any of the contamination onto the carpet with a chemical. So vacuum first. I should have said that.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. So this is going to seem like a stupid question, but how do you clean the inside of the windows? In our vehicles, we see a lot of dust on the inside, and I clean the windows with Windex and a microfiber towel, but when I drive into the sun, I can see all these streaks and spots that I missed. What am I doing wrong?
So first, don't use Windex because Windex has ammonia. And what that's going to do, that's also some of the contribution to what's streaking on your windshield or any of your windows is because Windex is ammonia based. And that actually can deteriorate. If you have tint on your vehicle, that's going to actually deteriorate it and it's going to eat through it. And it's going to make your tint or your windshield look really cloudy and muggy.
Okay. Yep.
So that's mainly what Windex is going to do. So don't use Windex. Use a dedicated glass cleaner for sure.
Okay.
For automotive use. And of course, I'll have some product recommendations.
Yes. Yep.
But there are going to be some situations where you run into really thick dirt and film on your windshields and your windows. And you're going to run into some scenarios where it's just really light contamination, nothing to really worry about. Now, if you run into the first scenario where it's just light dirt, light contamination, use a dedicated automotive glass cleaner. So some of my recommendations that we would have is from, again, the German brand Kokemi. It's called Kokemi Glass Cleaner. We have a P&S True View. What else? There's a few good ones. We have a lot of glass cleaners. CarPro Clarify, Geon Glass Cleaner. So those are just some of the glass cleaners that I use.
Yep. And we'll throw those into the show notes as well, too. I'll get the links and throw them into the show notes, make it easier.
Definitely. Yep. So if your glass or your windshield is lightly contaminated, use a dedicated fiber towel. But not just any microfiber towel. You want to use a waffle weave microfiber towel.
And that's what one of the questions I was actually going to have for you. It's good that you brought it up. Is that like microfiber towels have come onto the market recently, and I have to admit that I'm just picking up a microfiber towel from wherever, from your big box stores and that. But I know that you guys have a few different companies you guys deal with in microfiber towels, the Ray company and that. And what's the difference between, say, even on your website, you've got 10 different or more microfiber towels. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, okay, I see these 10 or 15 microfiber towels. And then I'm looking at the one that I bought for $2.99 or a pack of 3 for $5 or whatever at the Walmart or whatever big box store. So I understand that there's got to be some different technology on there, and there's got to be different qualities as there is with anything in the world. Let's get through the glass, and then we'll hop into those microfiber towels, because I'm really interested in finding out what the differences are on those.
For sure, definitely. Yeah, so when it comes to like contamination on your glass, we highly recommend using a microfiber towel called the waffle. It's basically a waffle weave type of drying towel. It can also be used as a glass towel. Now, it's mainly this waffle style microfiber towel is mainly used for drying vehicles, but you can also use it for glass. It works perfectly on glass because the waffle pattern will actually trap all of this dirt in, compared to a microfiber towel that's just flat.
Right.
This waffle weave towel will actually pick up dirt much better than any regular microfiber towel. So combine that with your glass cleaner, and you're going to do a process called the box method. So you're going to use 2 spritz onto the affected area, your windshield, your windows, whichever one. 2 spritz onto the glass, 2 spritz on your waffle weave towel. And you're going to use the box method. So you're going to start on the outlines of the windows first, and then you're going to start to basically fill in that box in an up and down or left turn motion, just so that you can get even coverage, and that way you're cleaning in specific directions and not just in a circular motion. If you clean glass in a circular motion, you're actually just pushing dirt all over the place. So by using the box method, you're going in a direction where the dirt's not going to be spreading. I don't know if that generalized. 2 spritz onto the glass, 2 spritz onto the microfiber towel, waffle weave towel, and you're going to do the box method again. So starting from the outline, you're going to outline the box of the shape and box size of the windshield or glass, and you're going to fill it in with up and down or left and right motions.
Okay.
Now, if it's really contaminated and you're getting really thick film, there's a little trick that I do, and that is to use a magic eraser. A magic eraser. Yeah, or a microfiber applicator pad. What those medias are going to do is basically it's going to provide a little bit of agitation. If you were to use a magic eraser on windshield with your glass cleaner, just use it very lightly, because magic eraser can do a little bit of scratching, especially if there's dirt contaminated onto the glass. If you are using the magic eraser method, clean the surface first with a microfiber towel, 2 spritz onto the glass, 1 spritz on your microfiber towel, and just get rid of the dust. Get rid of the dirt and contamination that is on the windshield. And then step 2, use the magic eraser in combination with your glass cleaner. So 2 more spritz onto the glass, and one spritz of glass cleaner onto your magic eraser, and apply it clean your glass in left to right motions with less pressure on the magic eraser, because you don't want any scratching, and that will actually clean off any film that is stuck on your windshield or windows. Same thing goes for the microfiber applicator as well. So prior to using those, make sure you just clean off all that dirt from the glass or windshield, and then hit it with either the magic eraser or the microfiber pad.
Perfect. That works for me. I usually just spray it on and just wipe around in some random motion. But I see that is not the right way to do that, because I see when I drive into the sunlight, I'm like, okay, I miss a spot, or there's streaks here and there. And so that box method, to definitely give that a shot next time. And say with proper glass cleaner.
Yeah, with proper automotive glass cleaner, yeah.
So let's hop back into the microfiber towels. Like I say before, I just was picking up random ones at big box stores and looking at your website. There's a bunch of different ones. And so a bit of confusion on my side, or almost overwhelming kind of ideas. What do I pick? There's a whole bunch of different ones, and I don't know what's what.
No, that's okay. A really good microfiber towel that we do carry, like you mentioned earlier, is the Rag Company. And like you said, yeah, they have a bunch of other products, a bunch of other microfiber towels that they have in their arsenal, which can get a little bit confusing. But TOC supplies, we've actually categorized them for what they are and what uses that they're used for. But it's simply there. Okay, so there's a lot of science and a lot of definitions to microfiber towels, but the Rag Company towels are very good, high quality towels. Now, there's different types of blends. When it comes to microfiber towels, you'll be given again, I don't want to complicate things. It's a lot. It's a lot that goes behind it. I'm so sorry. But basically, just to make things simple, if you go to tocsupplies.ca and you see a towel and it says it's a 70/30 blend, that basically means that is mainly going to be used for your general detailing jobs, cleaning
Okay.
car, cleaning paint, absorbing water, and for drying. You'll also get an 80/20 blend. Again, I don't really want to go into it because there's a lot of things to cover. I
Yeah,
might
no, we can keep it simple for.
geek out.
It's all good.
Yeah, and I might this podcast is going to be like 4 hours long. So yeah, 70/30 blend microfiber towels are mainly used for your general detailing. 80/20 blends are used more for specialized detailing. So sometimes a little bit of drying when you're drying the vehicle off, polish removal, wheel cleaning, and a lot of metal polishing as well. And of course, there's different types of GSMs. I don't know if I'm losing you guys here, but man, microfiber is a lot of information.
A lot of different ones. Maybe we'll, like your 70/30 is your basic all around, more or less,
Exactly.
right? And what we'll do, maybe I'll grab some and put them on the show notes for those. And then 80/20 is more of a specialty kind of area. But say somebody like myself is just going to clean the interior and clean the glass. Now, so you're talking about the waffle design before. Is 70/30s, are they the waffle design, or is there a specific different listing for those?
They are 70/30, yeah.
Okay. So if we picked a couple 70/30s as recommendations, and for most people, that would probably suffice, I would imagine, right? Yeah. Okay. We can do that. We'll pick a couple 70/30s, put those in the show notes, and maybe go from there. That's probably the best way to do it, I think, because we like say we could get really deep on it, but
I would love to, because there's things there's GSM, there's so many different types of weaves. We would be on here for a while.
So let's talk about wheel cleaners. I usually use the same soap that I do for the rest of the vehicle, but I'm also running factory rims. I noticed you guys carry the P&S Brake Buster wheel cleaner, and it's gotten a lot of really good reviews for breaking apart if there is a lot of brake dust on the rims and that. What are your recommendations for wheel cleaning?
So yeah, P&S Brake Buster right away is a really good one, because P&S Brake Buster, it's the same thing almost as Mud Buster. It's got anti-corrosion on it. So that's one really good benefit. And it does a lot of breaking down of brake dust. So it'll do a really good job at really breaking down caked on brake dust that are on your wheels, and it'll really do a good job at melting them away.
Yep.
It will really do a good job at cleaning and emulsifying all that dirt as well. Not only can you use it for wheels, but you can use it for tires as well.
Okay.
It has a pH level of, I believe, 10. So it's a little bit more towards the alkaline side of things, which is going to do a really good job at really melting away all that grime. We do have other wheel cleaners. So Brake Buster is more of that. It's a straightforward wheel cleaner with just a few features in them. But we also have wheel cleaners that are a little bit more special with iron removers. So we have wheel cleaners with iron removers. Now, if you have brake dust that are so hardened and so contaminated onto the wheels that Brake Buster can't get it off, we have wheel cleaners that are infused with iron removers. So when you use these wheel cleaners on really caked up wheels that are just contaminated with brake dust, what it's going to do is it's actually going to melt those metal particles away. It's basically allowing the metal brake dust that has been so heated and so caked onto the wheel, it basically helps melt that away.
Beautiful. Do you have a recommendation on that one?
Yeah, we do. We actually have a few. We have, again, from the German brand Kochemi. It's called Magic Wheel Cleaner, WC.
Okay, yep.
So Magic Wheel Cleaner, Kochemi. We also have Fireball. It's called Fireball Wheel Plus. That's a really good one.
We'll throw that in show notes. Yeah.
Yep.
So now you're saying that the Brake Buster works well for the tires as well. Let's look at tires. I find that if you use a spray foam on them. A lot of times if you use like an Armor All or something like that, I find that they don't stay clean. It all depends if you're into that shiny tire look, basically.
Yeah.
But what would you recommend for a tire cleaner, as well as something that works as a protectant as well?
Sure, for sure. No, there's really not a lot of products that are meant to clean wheels and protect them at the same time. Most of the products that are in the detailing industry, a lot of it has to do with basically cleaning them first, and then you add a little protection after that. But there are certain situations that most people disregard wheels, and because they're not really sure how to clean them. Over time, they start to build up a lot of grease, a lot of gunk, and then they start to get a little bit. It's what we call in the industry. It's called browning. Then they'll start to get a little bit of browning on them. They're going to look, no matter how many tire dressings you put, it won't look as black as it is anymore. It'll just look brown because basically all of the gunk, all that grease has been sucked up into those tires, and now that's why it's looking very brown and really contaminated. So what we use is basically a lot of, again, high alkaline based products to basically to get all those browning off. And those products that basically can do that are CarPro Retire and Sternagloss Force on our website. So it has a pH level of 13, and those are basically going to melt away all that browning on your tire walls, get it all out. And if you have a really good tire brush, you can actually agitate at the same time with it, and it's going to bring that tire back to OEM finish. Once you've done that, now, again, you can use Brake Buster as well if it's slightly contaminated, but if you've got some serious browning on your tires, use CarPro Retire or Sternagloss Forced to melt away all that browning. It's going to look like chocolate milk when you spray the product onto the tire. It's simply just pulling out all the grease and gunk that's been sucked into the tires for years.
All the mud and all that other crap.
All the mud, all the road film. That's what it's going to do. And with a little bit of agitation from a wheel brush, you're going to get it really frothy. You're going to get it at a much better state. So once you're done cleaning it, adding tire shine to it, or nowadays there's tire sealants.
Okay, beautiful. So we mentioned to our Instagram followers that you're coming on the show, and they had some questions. Something that came up a few times is what we call BC pinstriping, which is scratches from tree branches.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So She Explores Off-Road asked what the best product for removing BC pinstriping. And that BC Yoda asks, how far is too far gone for the scratches?
So mainly to get rid of scratches on paint, a lot of it is going to be paint polishing, but there are just too far deep scratches that most detailers don't want to chase, because you can tell the way to tell if you have really deep scratches is if you run your nail through, and so if your nail catches on these scratches, that's really going deep down into the paint, and you don't want to chase that scratch with paint polishing too far, because then you're just going to burn through clear coat. But if you've got light scratching, light marring from what's called BC
pinstriping, yeah. Because a lot of the trails are narrow, and we're going through the trails, and the trees are rubbing along, and so you get all these little scratches, which can be taken out with a polish a lot of times. But obviously a black vehicle shows it a lot more than a white vehicle, which is why I have moved from a black vehicle to a white vehicle, to be honest with you. I'll never buy a black vehicle again.
Yeah, it's not that we dread it, but detailers, as soon as we hear a soft paint black car coming in, we're like, oh, we gotta really prepare for this. But yes, mainly to remove those kind of scratches, it's gonna have to be paint machine polishing, or you can even do hand polishing as well. We'd have different compounds for that. We have different type of polishing compounds to tackle that kind of job. But like I said, if these scratches are so deep to the point where your nail catches, and you do have experience with paint polishing, just don't chase that scratch way too far down, because you're just going to burn through too much paint.
Right.
But if it's light scratching, light marring, you can definitely hit it with paint polishing, and it'll remove that. Now, if you want to know how to further prevent further scratches from branches or anything like that, PPF, paint protection film, is probably going to be the best go-to protection for your paint, especially when off-roading, because there's a lot of ceramic coatings in the market that say that they're scratch resistant. In the real world, and realistically, most ceramic coatings are not going to be scratch resistant. They might be resistant to a little bit of marring, a little bit of light scratches, but like the tree branches, man, I think those are digging into your paint like crazy. So
yeah, a lot of them are just like soft, say pine tree branches that we're rubbing up against, and they got some little scratches. And we try and avoid obviously any of the bigger stuff that's going to leave the real deep scratches, but Unfortunately, it
Right.
does happen, but you can see them when you come out. You can see them, or you can see them
Yeah.
in the sunlight,
Yeah.
the way the light hits it. But it's, yeah, it's there, and just a good polish will get rid of a lot of them. So let's go back to some of our Instagram followers that posted. Black Sheep Off-Roading had a question about the leather interior. He wants it clean, but he doesn't want the seats to feel like a slip and slide. What are your thoughts
Nice.
on that?
Yeah, I've had that question asked me. Someone asked me that question actually just recently too, and I always give them the same answer, man. Try and avoid a lot of the detailing products that offer a cleaning solution and a oily protection at the same time. So a lot of those Armor All wipes are actually what's causing that, and a lot of those protection that are on those Armor All wipes are oil based, and that's why you're going to be sliding around. The best way to get a good clean finish in your leather interiors without having to slide around is to use a pH neutral interior cleaner. So P&S has a really good interior cleaner, and it's called Express Interior. That's going to do an amazing job at cleaning your leather seats without giving that oily effect. It's going to give it more of an OEM matte like finish. And when it comes to leather seats, if after cleaning it with P&S Express Interior, you want to give it a little bit of a leather dedicated leather dressing, but you want to go for something that's water based. You don't want to go for something
Okay.
that's water based. That's what's causing the slip and slide is the difference between, because there are going to be different types of leather interior protectants that are oil based and water based. You want to go for that water based one because it'll give you that nice matte sheen. It'll give it a little bit of pop, a little bit of, not necessarily, I wouldn't say shine, but it's going to basically make it look supple. It's going to make it look a little bit softer, but it's not going to turn your seats into a slip and slide. So aim for a water based.
And if you got a recommendation on that?
Yeah, definitely. So we have, it's my favorite brand. I know I keep saying, but it's Kokemi, sorry, Leather Star LS. Kokemi Leather Star.
That's your favorite. We'll run with that and put that in the show notes for
There's
sure.
if you want something that has good quality, a little bang for your buck. P&S has one, P&S Leather Treatment.
Okay.
But that's actually a favorite too from a lot, not just myself, but from a lot of detailers, man. P&S Leather Treatment is a really good one.
P&S seems to have some really good products. Everything, like I did do some research on them, and everybody raves about them. So it's
definitely.
I
And
don't have any problems recommending that.
Yeah, people rave about them because they're really cost effective too.
Yep. So thanks to our Instagram followers on those questions. Remember, you can catch us on the gram at 4x4 Canada Podcast, and you can also reach TOC Supplies on Instagram as well too. So if you've got any questions directly related to that, you can always pop them over there too. So let's say that I've got an afternoon or a day to spend on detailing my truck. What are the steps you take? Interior first, exterior first, and what order do you do those steps? With the glass, do you do the glass first and then the dash and then down that way? And then in regards to the exterior, back to what we were talking about with doing a good deep polish and stuff like that, what are some of the steps and recommendations on product-wise on some of those steps?
Sure. So it sounds like basically we're trying to find out an all-around how to step-by-step detail your vehicle.
Yeah, just a rough kind of idea, step by step, because I usually do on the inside, I'll do the glass first, and I work my way down. I don't know if that's the right way of doing it. And then on the outside, in regards to what are some of the basic steps, and because I may be doing things the wrong way.
You're probably doing some right. It's really simple. And first rule of thumb before you actually get into the full detail of your vehicle and before you even wash it is I really like to say to avoid washing in direct sunlight. So if you can work in a shaded area, we highly recommend that too.
But I like to wash my truck on the sunlight with my bikini and everything like that.
A little too much information was, but hey man, want to do that, go for it. But no, so you can wash your vehicle outdoors. You really don't need shade to do it, but you have to do it at the right time. If during the summertime and you're doing it midday, it's going to be the sun is really out. It's going to be blasting the heck out of the car. So I'd probably do it early in the morning, just right before the sun comes up, or maybe around later in the evening when the sun is a little bit when it's just settling. Yeah, just when it's setting. That's usually the time that I would do it if I were to do it during the summer outdoors. You don't want to do it mid-afternoon or during lunch and the sun is just on your vehicle because it's just going to dry up all those products that are on the paint and it's going to cause etching and a lot of stains on the clear coat.
Okay.
That's mainly the rule of thumb there. And when it comes to fully detailing your vehicle, personally, I don't think there's really a step whether if you should do the exterior first or the interior first. What I like to do is most detailers that I know, they'll actually wash the vehicle first and then they'll do their interior. But weirdly enough, I like to do interior more than wash the paint. I don't know why, but I like to hit the interior first and then I go out to the exterior, only because if and I've come across this a few times before. I would, let's say, for example, I would wash a car first, and after I've dried it, there's still some water trapped in between some tight nooks and crannies, sort of thing. And if I'm opening the door back and forth doing the interior, I might get a few water drips on the side coming out from the mirrors,
Yep.
and then I got to go back, wipe that off so that it doesn't dry on the paint. And that is exactly why I hit the interior first, so that when I get to the wash, I'm not having to open my doors for such a long time and having to go back and forth into the interior. And that's why I do the interior first, and then I hit the exterior after.
That makes total sense to me. You should do the interior first and then go exterior as well too. So like you say, even if the doors are open, you're not getting drips running down onto you or anything like that as well too, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's say, for example, you've done your interior already and you're ready to do the exterior wash of your vehicle. One of the things that we also like to help people with is sometimes they'll start with the paint first and they'll just be all over the place. But the best way to start off a good wash is to start with the wheels first, because they are the dirtiest place of the vehicle. If you were to do the paint first, you got your nice lather on, you're doing a contact wash, you've applied wax, and you said, oh, damn, I forgot to do my wheels. As soon as you get to those wheels with a clean paint, everything's just going to splash back onto the paint.
Okay.
That's why so the proper way of doing a full detail wash is to hit the wheels first with a good quality products like Brake Buster as well. Any of the iron infused wheel cleaners that I've mentioned earlier from Koshikemi, from Starnagloss, things like that. Those are amazing wheel cleaners to tackle the wheels first. Brake Buster will do an amazing job at cleaning tires, retires. Starnagloss Force will do an amazing job at cleaning the tires. Once your wheel's done, then you can come on and do the paint. But what we like to do is we start from top to bottom, because basically, if we're washing the paint, we want the dirt to fall down.
Right.
We don't want to start from the bottom, because the bottom of the vehicle is where it's most dirty. And if you start at the bottom with your wash mitt, you're going to contaminate your wash mitt, and you're just bringing it to the top. So the cleanest part of the vehicle is at the top, and you're basically going to wash the car in straight motions. If hand contact wash the vehicle in circular motions, and it does pick up, let's say, a little tiny pebble or a little tiny dirt. If you're washing in circular motion, you're actually rubbing that tiny pebble, that tiny dirt in circles on the paint. And that's why you get these spider webbing effects on your vehicle. That's why you get swirls and scratches. But if we were to wash the vehicle in straight motions, following the airstream of the vehicle, if it does pick up a tiny pebble or some sort of dirt that can scratch the paint, you won't see it as much, because it's going in one motion. I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, that does. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, you would wash the paint from top to bottom, starting with your roof, making your way to the windows and the windshield, then onto the hood, then around your doors and your trunk and the lower rocker panels of your vehicle, using straight line motions. And there's many different types of washes. So maintenance washes are usually like that, with a pH neutral shampoo, car shampoo.
Yep.
With starting from top to bottom, straight line motions. But we also have decontamination washes. Decontamination washes are simply something that you would use if your vehicle has industrial fallout on your paint. As you're driving your car around, it's going to pick up a few things. It's going to pick up a few industrial fallout. You might get some iron contamination on your paint, some tar spots, things like that. And what a wash decontamination will basically do is that it'll take normal washes to the next level. Basically, just to make things much simpler, it'll take a regular wash to the next level by decontaminating, and it's almost like you're exfoliating the paint. You're getting rid of impurities that are so embedded into the clear coat that a normal wash can't remove. That's mainly what a decontamination wash is, using chemicals and clay bar. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, to exfoliate the paint to remove all these stuck on gunk that a normal wash cannot remove. So we have that. Basically, it's called a wash decontamination. And then from there, if you want to combine the two, do a regular wash and then hit it with a decontamination wash after, you can even move on to paint polishing right after.
And that's where that BC pinstriping comes into effect, doing that paint polish.
Yeah.
Maybe let's just touch base on the steps on doing the paint polish.
Sure. So when it comes to paint polishing, before you actually get into paint polishing, one of the things that you really want to do is a good prep wash of your vehicle, and that involves the full step of the decontamination wash system that I was talking about before. Start with your wheels first, then move on to your paint with a regular car shampoo. But the decontamination process comes after drying the vehicle. So let's say you've given your vehicle a wash, car shampoo, you've hit the wheels, you've hit the paint, and you've dried the vehicle. So the decontamination part would be a thing we call a chemical decontamination and a mechanical decontamination. So chemical decontaminations are in the form of tar removers and iron removers. So
Right.
your clear coat is basically exposed to a lot of these industrial fallout from iron particles that are floating in the air, maybe some road tar from road work, construction work maybe. So you'll have these contaminations that a regular wash cannot remove. And that's why you move into the decontamination stage after you've done a normal wash on your vehicle. That's basically to remove all these things again, like I said, a regular wash cannot remove. So if you don't do a decontamination wash and you go straight in and you just do a regular normal wash and you hop straight back into paint polishing, that what you're doing is you're polishing basically abrasives and contaminants that are still stuck onto your paint, and you're just rubbing it onto the clear coat.
Right. Like those little bits of tar or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why we take the extra step to mechanically decontaminate and chemically decontaminate the paint. And what I mean by chemical decontamination, again, iron removers in the form of chemicals and tar removers. Mechanical decontamination is it takes the form of a clay bar. So the clay bar is basically it's this putty-like substance that you can that used to glide against the paint of your vehicle in combination with a clay lubricant. And what that does is as you're gliding the clay bar along the paint, it will pull out any embedded contaminations. So any other tar spots that maybe the chemical tar remover did not remove, that clay bar will pull it out of that paint, exfoliating and making it nice and smooth. So once you've done the chemical and mechanical decontamination side of things, that's when we move into polishing. Knowing that the paint is bare, we've removed all the paint of contamination, and we can actually use a machine polishing. We can use a machine polishing system, or we can use a hand polishing system, and we know that we're not rubbing any of this contamination onto the paint. So that
totally makes sense. So real quick, what have you got for recommendations? And we'll put these into the show notes, but what have you got for recommendations on a chemical clean and on some of the clay bar materials?
Sure. When it comes to chemical decontamination, when it comes to iron removers specifically, there's one that's a staple in the industry, and it's CarPro Iron X.
Okay.
CarPro Iron X is basically a remover in a spray bottle, and the way to use these chemicals, I guess I can explain that once I've mentioned the tar remover as well. CarPro Iron X is for iron removal fallout on the paint, and you also have CarPro Tar X. Now that's mainly for a tar removal on paint.
Right.
So the way these products work is that after you've done your regular wash, simply spray these products onto your paint. Again, not in direct sunlight. Spray these products onto your paint, and what it's basically going to do, the iron remover is going to melt all the iron contaminants and all the metal particulates that are on your paint. Same thing that goes for Tar X. Spray it onto the vehicle after. So you do your regular wash, spray it with Iron X, blast it off with your pressure washer, and then move on with Tar X to remove the tar contaminants.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, once that's finished, then you can go into mechanical decontamination with a clay bar. So a really good clay bar would be something from the Rag Company, which is what we carry. The Rag Company fine grade clay.
Okay.
So that's one clay bar that you could definitely use, and it works amazing. But of course, you need a clay lube for that, because by nature, clay medias, decontamination clays, they're actually abrasive in nature. So you actually want to combine it with a clay lubricant. And some really good ones that we have is a Kosh Chemi clay lube. That's a very straight up name. It's not called clay lube. It's called clay spray.
Okay.
Kosh Chemi clay spray.
Yeah.
There's CarPro Emulube. CarPro Emulube IOLUBE. Yeah.
Okay.
There's CarPro Emulube, and those are pretty much some of the clay lubes that I use. But I highly recommend them because they do an amazing job at helping the clay bar glide through the paint without really adding too many scratches. Because I said, again, clay bars are by nature abrasives. Its job is to pull out as many contaminants as you glide it along the paint. But the clay lube will help alleviate that. It'll help glide that clay bar without having to do too much damage onto your paint, without having to cause any marring or scratching, basically.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the chemical decontamination done. We've got the clay bar decontamination done. Hop into a polish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What are you recommending for the series of events on the machine polishing as well as the products on that?
Products when it comes to machine polishing, if you want to get a high quality machine polisher, if we want to start off with machine polishing, machine does a lot of amazing things. So investing in a really machine polisher is definitely key. But there are some budget car polishers that still do a really good job in the $200 mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also have machine polishers that are around $800 to $600. Those are going to definitely produce better results. You do need a little bit of experience on those, but there are beginner style machine polishers that are on the market for around $200, and they still do an amazing job at polishing off scratches.
Yeah.
There are different types of polishing compounds out there that are professional grade and consumer grade. I wouldn't highly recommend to go straight into professional grade polishes and compounds immediately, because they can be a little bit finicky, but there are some beginner polishing compounds that are good to start off with.
Yeah, and that's something I would be looking more into for sure. Start with the beginner stuff and then go from there.
Definitely. Some detailers are definitely going to hate me for saying this, but if you are getting started with paint polishing, there are some compounds and polishes that are very forgiving and easy to use from chemical guys. Now, we don't carry chemical guys at TOC Supplies. We carry a lot of professional grade polishes and compounds. But if you want to get your hands into, if you're a beginner in paint polishing and you really want to try out different products and compounds and polishes that will help get rid of scratches, the Chemical Guys lineup definitely has products that are very forgiving, very easy to use, very user-friendly.
Yeah.
In order for you to produce scratch removal results.
Yeah.
Now, if you do have a little bit of experience when it comes to machine paint polishing and you want to use that next level stuff and a little bit more high quality professional grade, but you do have a little bit of experience in paint polishing, I would highly recommend the Sonax brand. Not sure if you guys have heard of it, but it's called Sonax Perfect Finish.
Okay.
It's more of a finishing polish than an actual scratch removal compound. Now, it will do some scratch removing, but the main point of Sonax Perfect Finish is for gloss. It's for gloss enhancement. It's for paint enhancement. It'll get rid of light scratching and light marring. It won't do a lot of heavy cutting to remove scratches, but there are dedicated compounds that are for heavy scratches. And if you're just going into paint enhancement, gloss enhancement, light scratch removal, Sonax Perfect Finish would be a good start. Now, if you're going into much heavier cutting compounds to remove deeper scratches, we do carry one that's called Rupes Blue Course. It's the Rupes Blue Course cutting compound. So that's mainly what I use for removing heavy defects, because it does an amazing job with a machine polisher at removing such deep scratches in a short amount of time. So those are some of the two compounds that I mainly use now. There's definitely more. I don't know if you want to share. If you want me to share,
no, that gives us the basics, and I don't know how far some of our listeners would get going into the professional series. So I think those two basic ones would give us a good start for guys that want to go that next step above the beginner ones.
Yeah.
So I think that's, yeah. Now, working on the interior, I've already talked about some of the products from P&S Off Road and that, but what are some of your steps? Like I say earlier, I do the glass first and I work my way down. To me, makes sense. As you say, dirt falls down, etc. So what are some of your basic steps on that?
For interior cleaning, from a detailer, is if you want to really do it like detailer style, it is going to be a little bit tedious, and you're probably going to wonder, like, why am I doing this stuff? It's a little bit too extra for me, but there's definitely a purpose for all of it. Yeah. So what I like to do is I start off with, of course, dusting out and vacuuming out my vehicle first. Of course, emptying out all of whatever garbage and debris I have in the vehicle, but besides that, I go straight into dusting and vacuuming my vehicle. So I would first dust out my vehicles and from top to bottom. So whatever dirt I am dusting off it just falls down straight to the carpet, which is the next step I'm going to do anyways.
That's
So
kind of
I'll
what I
also-
was thinking. Yeah.
So I would get my vacuum and a little soft synthetic brush, interior brush that I have. Of course, we carry them at TOC Supplies as well. And what I do is I just do a little bit of light dusting from the dash, making my way down to the seats, just dusting out anything that is sitting on my dashboard, on the side of my doors. I'll start with that. That way, if I do miss anything I dust off anyways will be on the carpet, because that will be the next step.
Right.
That's when I get into interior cleaning, and I'll usually make my way from the driver's side, making my way back in a U shape. So from the driver's side, making my way back to the rear passenger side on the driver's side.
Yep.
So driver's side, right behind the driver's side. Then I make my way to the rear passenger side, and then eventually make my way to the actual passenger seat. I'll just hit the interior trim with most of my interior cleaner. If it's not too contaminated, I guess you could say, just use a quick detailer.
Yep.
I'll give it a quick wipe down. But if I do have a few stains here and there, I will use a dedicated boar's hair detail brush.
Okay.
I'll use a boar's hair detail brush in combination with my interior cleaner. So there's different types of brushes out there for interior. You have these soft synthetic brushes. It almost feels like a makeup brush. It almost feels like that, but because they're really soft, but that's mainly used for light cleaning.
Okay.
If you do have light staining, light soiling on your interior trims, then that's something that you can use in combination with your interior cleaner. But if you do have a little bit of caked on stains and a little bit and some grime that are stuck on your leather seats or your door panels, whatever the case is, I would use a boar's hair brush. They're a little bit stiffer in nature. So in combination with that, with your interior cleaner, it'll do a little bit more agitation without damaging the surface of your interior. Yeah, so I'd hit it with the interior cleaner with either a soft detail synthetic brush or a boar's hair brush. Once that's done, then I get into protecting the actual trim. So protecting the trim from UV rays, from dust, and I use a lot of anti-static property kind of products. So I'll first dress out the trims, so my dashboard, the door panels, and I'll use, depending on what the material is, if you have vinyl or plastic interior trimming, then definitely use that dedicated interior dressing that is made for vinyl or plastic. You don't want to use the leather dressing on something that's plastic, on a plastic trim or on a vinyl trim.
Okay. So something like the full send dressing from P&S,
exactly.
Is that something like that would do as a good multi-purpose dressing? Right. Yeah. Okay.
And then, of course, after the trim, I would hit it with, depending on what your seats are, if it's fabric, you can use a fabric protectant, or if it's leather, you can use a good water-based leather dressing.
What we talked about before. Now, that's the other question too. When we've talked about the leather care, but what about on the cloth seats? So I know that I've got one of my seats, I've got a stain where somebody had dropped something when, I don't know if it was food or whatever it was, but I do have a small stain on one of my seats. What are the steps to try and get some of those stains out of your cloth seats?
Yeah, so if fabric's a little tough, and sometimes you'll come across vehicles that have really tight weave fabric, and just some of it's a little bit more plusher. I find that the fabric seats that are really tight, a little bit more dense. Those are a little tough to work with.
Right.
So when it comes to stains on those type of fabric seats, let's say for example, I would definitely use a steamer or an extractor.
Okay. If
I've got tight fabric seats that have crusted stains on them, it's really hard to get off. I would hit it with a steamer first, just to loosen up the grime, loosen up the crust, and just soften it up a little bit. And then I'd hit it with carpet bomber. Actually, not only is it good for carpet, but it's also good for fabric seats.
Okay.
I'll even use a carpet bomber on that fabric seats so it can emulsify all that melted gonk. So spray some carpet bomber on it and give it a little agitation with a brush.
Yeah.
And since it's really caked on there and it's a really bad stain, then I would follow up with a carpet extractor from there to suck up everything else.
Right.
That's like the extreme level, and that'll suck everything up and leave your seats looking nice and clean.
Perfect. That works for me. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then, so after you've done your trim, you've done your seats, you've done your carpet, that's pretty much it for the interior, right? Now, any other little tips you can think of that people forget or they may not realize when you're doing, say, any of this detailing work? Is there a couple little things you can throw out there for guys?
Definitely. Now, if Most of this is missed, but and I know it's actually going to be a very obvious one, but I find most people that when they do their interior, they actually some people actually forget to do their glass. And it's one of the most important things because you're so caught up with doing the interior trim, your seats, your carpet that I've seen this happen. Most people will forget the glass.
Yeah.
And giving your glass a good wipe down after hitting your all your interior trims, after cleaning all them out in your seats. I leave the glass as the last step.
Oh,
And since it is the last step, I understand why some people can forget it because you just want to get it over with. You just want to, I'm done cleaning my interior, but the glass is a very important step. Another really good tip is the door jamb. So
yes.
you've got a nice clean interior, but if a passenger would, let's say, come in your car and they open that door, they see your interior is just immaculate, but they see your door jambs are still full of grease and grime. That's when it becomes that's when it doesn't make sense. It's oh,
Yeah.
you got a clean interior, but your door jambs don't go in hand. So that's one amazing tip. And the rear view mirror actually. So I'm going to reverse a little bit. When it comes to cleaning the glass as your last step, I don't forget to hit hit rear view mirror because you can get some stains in there. And if you look back, you're like, oh no, I missed the spot. So rear view mirrors are pretty
I
good too.
never do my rear view mirror.
Well, rear view mirrors is definitely one thing I look for.
Yeah.
It's just that extra touch. You don't really have to do it.
It's just not something that doesn't really cross my mind. So it's a great point because I never think about it.
So yeah, your rear view mirrors, and that's pretty much about it for the interior. And if you want, you don't have to, but I find that adding the extra touch of a little bit of a spray set of some sort.
Yeah.
Not necessarily something too strong. I'm not talking about anything Febreze, but
I did notice that I don't know if it was the P&S cockpit interior cleaner or if it's a full dressing. One of them has a nice smell to it.
they do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the first things I noticed when I was using them. But yeah, now, in regards to a fresh smell, a lot of us will grab, say, the tree or whatever from Canadian Tire or wherever. Is there any other good recommendations that you have in regards to a cockpit smell?
Sure, for sure. So we do have one, and again, it's from my favorite German brand. It's called Kochchemie Fresh Up.
Okay.
Now, Fresh Up isn't going to give you any of that strong perfumey smell. Kochchemie is more of a neutral odor eliminator smell. So
that's what I was going with, because I know a lot of times people have smells in their vehicle, and doing those tree things will just mask the smell. It doesn't help eliminate the smell.
Exactly. It doesn't help eliminate the smell. And that's actually what I was trying to get to, was I would use more of a dedicated odor eliminator.
Yeah.
To give that last fresh touch to the vehicle, because after doing your interior and all, you are going to smell a little bit of the chemicals. I mean, you can let a gas off for a little bit after doing your interior, but there will be at some points where I smell my interior cleaner, and I don't like that smell. It's not pleasant. Yeah. So I highly recommend, if you want to. It's honestly, I see it more of as a preference, but hitting it with a good odor eliminator is going to take it to the next level for sure. Yeah. And the one I just recommended, Kochchemie Fresh Up. Yep. It's definitely amazing. It smells like laundry detergent, but sweeter. So I don't know if that makes any sense. It doesn't have a chemical burning sensation to it at all. It's got a nice, pleasant smell. And the way you would apply this is that after you've done your interior, you just add 3 light sprays on your carpet and run the AC at full cycle. Have the option to basically recycle that air throughout the cabin.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and that'll give that nice smell. Yeah.
One last detailing question is vents. Yeah. I use sometimes like a Q-tip or something like that to get in there. Is that sort of the basic thought on that?
Honestly, it's a simple kind of method, but yeah, Q-tips definitely work. Yeah. Now, if you want something that's much easier, if you have access to this, you can definitely use an air compressor just to get all the dust and dirt out. But to actually clean them, yeah, Q-tips are not a bad option. They actually work very well. I just wouldn't use them for too long, because sometimes Q-tips can deteriorate a little bit, and you don't want to leave behind any of that material on the vents. So just give it a nice quick swab, one pass, and you're good.
Beautiful. So once again, we're talking to Josh from TOC Supplies. They're a Ontario-based detail supply company. And Josh, I've learned a ton on this from talking to you today. It's definitely lots of little tidbits that'll definitely help me out with my keeping my vehicle clean. Oh, once again, you can reach TOC Supplies at tocsupplies.ca. They're also very involved on the Instagram as TOC Supplies as well. Yeah. And don't forget that the 4x4 Canada podcast listeners get a 10% discount by using the 4x4 Canada code. Once again, thank you for coming on, Josh. It's been a real treasure having you on here for sure. So the last question that we ask every guest is, what Canadian would you like to listen to on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
What Canadian I like to see them as a guest in your podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, man. A lot. You know what? Just to change the theme a little bit.
Yeah,
man. I'd like to get maybe a Throttle House or Straight Pipe guys in there.
Yeah,
I know they're not 4x4 guys, but it'd be an interesting guest on your podcast, man. So the Straight Pipes guys and Throttle House.
Yep. Yeah,
they'd be an interesting guest.
Yeah, I know that you did a little interview recently with the guys from Truck King as well.
Yes, that's right. We did.
Yeah, and I've actually been talking to them about them coming on the show as well too. So that's
man, they're amazing. They're definitely great.
I love their channel. They're just just regular guys doing some incredible reviews, and they've been definitely interesting guys.
They did an amazing job at converting. So videographer Ash, when we did the video for Truck King and we were basically collaborating with them, they said, "Hey, you know what? Let's give you a little off-roading taste." I'm like, "I've had my off-roading taste, but I don't think Ash has. I don't think he has." And but he was geeking out like crazy. He was having fun. He sold his Subaru BRZ for a lifted 4Runner. That's how it got to him. He had so much fun off-roading, and after that, man, I'm gonna sell my BRZ. I'm gonna get a 4Runner. I was like, okay, go for it.
They hooked him.
Oh man,
yeah, they all seem like really good guys. So we definitely want to get them on the channel. We've been talking back and forth a little bit, and definitely on board. Thank you very much, Josh. It's been a true learning experience for me, and it was a pleasure having you on board.
You're welcome. Hey, I hope I was able to help some of your viewers as well, and you. I know we weren't able to get down to some deeper information about other things, because, like I said, we would be on here forever. if your viewers want to ask a little bit more about detailing, then yes, they can definitely reach out to us, and then we can go further in depth. If you want to have us again, we can go further in depth. However you want to do this, Wes.
Definitely. I think if people have any questions, by all means, check you out on the Instagram or at tocsupplies.ca. But I definitely do want to have you back on again. Maybe we can look at doing something again in the springtime when people are ready to do a good spring cleaning kind of idea, get rid of that winter grime. And maybe we can touch base on some of the stuff that we did miss today. But for the short time it was here today, we definitely learned a lot, I think. I appreciate you coming on board.
Awesome. Yeah. It was honestly, it was a treat being here. Thank you for having me.